So I started day trading futures again, and I want to talk about how my strategy has changed a little bit. I've been doing this now, as you guys know, for almost 2 years. I have passed 2 evaluations in the past, both with Top Step. I'm not trading with Top Step anymore. I have moved over to Apex with my last 2 attempts. I've attempted to pass the Apex evaluation 2 times. Once in January, it didn't work out. I think I made about 8 days before I blew that up. And then again in March, and here I am back again in May. So pretty much every other month. And really the last time I did this, I was so close to passing, and I'm having just that one blow up. All right, that one blow up day. And every single time I've gotten better with the evaluations, it's because I made things simpler and simpler and simpler. And right now I have my strategy pretty much as simple as can be, as far as I can see. And inside the Discord, people want to know. So I am going to, over the next however many days, I am going to be a lot more transparent about those blowups. I never talked about the evaluations. I have no problem showing the learning process. I want to show you the trade I took today and the other trades that my current strategy would have taken. And then you can hop down in the comments and you can give me all the criticisms that you want. So I'm currently using Tradeovate. They're owned by Ninja Trader. I know there's pros and cons to everything, but with especially as simple as I keep my charts, this has been nice and easy for me. And I'm a Mac user, so the options for Mac users weren't really a lot. That's really the Tradeovate. The indicators that I have, I don't really trade with volume. I do have Bookmap up, and I do have the DOM up on other screens that I'm not going to show you right now. I've made videos about Bookmap. It's essentially just a heat map. You don't need it. It's just a visual representation of the DOM, but I'll leave a link if you've never seen that to an old video that I did talking about Bookmap, because I still kind of use it a little bit, but I think I've even simplified away. There's a chance I might even turn off the Bookmap and just use the volume profiles that we have here. I found that when I try and stay in a trade, I personally didn't have the discipline to stay in trades for a very long time. I think I'm a scalper by nature, and every time I've stayed consistent with a scalping strategy, it's just been a lot easier for me in the way that I read the markets. Also sticking with one asset, I used to do both the ES and the NQ. Going back to the NQ, it's just something that I just understand a little bit better and understand. And except besides that one blow up, which I did have a little bit of earlier this week, I'll go back and catch everybody up. So moving forward into tomorrow, and I'll try and do these recaps every single day. What you're seeing on the screen is 2 solid lines. We got a red and a green. I'll explain what those are. And then these other yellow lines, just for reference of what I'm kind of talking about. The market's just closed at 4 o'clock. Over here, this is just volume conducted at that particular price. So we can see with this consolidation, there was a ton of volume up in here, a little bit of gaps. And really, I just use this as ways to see how fast movement might travel through valleys, and they kind of slow down and consolidate really at these bigger peaks. And then this blue line here is just VWAP. It's the only other indicator I have on there. I don't have volume. Like I said, I use the DOM and I watch price action on the screen, but this is the screen that I'm looking at. What this red and what this green line represents is the 15-minute open range. So right now I'm on a 5-minute chart. That's what I trade on. But in the first 15 minutes, I'm not taking a trade and I'm just watching that first 15 minutes. Once I establish that 15-minute range, then I can move on, right? Every time I tried to trade in the first 15 minutes of the day, you just got to go back and look at the stats. And when I started journaling and looking back, the first 15 minutes just chewed me up. And I think I saw Trades by Matt. He was talking about, when you get to the office, you don't really fire right into the day. You get your cup of coffee, say hello to your colleagues. And that's kind of like what the first 15 minutes of the day is. Once I get in that 15-minute range, now I'm going to be looking for movement and trend out of that 15-minute range. And this is known, I think, as like a 15-minute breakout strategy. But what I'm looking for is really untested wicks. Once again, I'm going to preface Trade by Matt. I've been watching him for years. I've followed lots of traders and things like that, but this dude has just been the most consistent, and he's very good at just like base hits. Very good at quick scalping, a lot like the strategy that I want. And he uses the wick test. I don't know if he created said wick test. I know there's so many different things, but I look for untested wicks outside of the 15-minute range, and I'm trying to scalp for 5 to 10 points. That's really what my goal is. And depending on the confidence of that trade, I'm going anywhere from 1 to 2, sometimes 3 different contracts, but mostly just starting with one. Today was 3, but that's just, I probably shouldn't have done 3. What this means by the untested wick, when we broke down out of the 15-minute range, what I'd be looking for is this candle to come up and test this wick right here. And what I'd be looking for is a bounce back to the downside of that untested wick with a stop above the high of that previous wick for downside action. So what happened was we had this candle, it never came up, so there was no trade here. And then it continued to move back into the range. I've also been very disciplined of not trading inside the 15-minute range, and that has also led to success for me. So now once we came into that, we started to break to the top side of that 15-minute range. And frankly, I might have been a little bit impatient here. So we had this untested wick that was right here, okay? And we saw this candle coming down, and I had an order open for that untested wick. And what I was going to be targeting was the high of that range. So I was going to try and scalp from here at 23, pretty much 24, all the way up to here, which was 31. So right about that 5-point scalp, that's what I was going to be looking for. We did not get it out of that candle. I probably will not go into the second candle in most cases. But as soon as it opened, it came right down and touched that wick and bought right up. So I got a little bit of a late entry because I did take my order off once we went to the next candle. But then as it bounced right off, I figured I could take a scalp and I was going to target the high of this candle here. And that was going to give me about a 10-point scalp. Right at the opening range. So this is probably not the best trade I could have taken. I was probably a little bit impatient, but it is what it is. And that's why I'm documenting it and being completely honest. Pretty much got into the trade. It kind of stayed where it was. It didn't make that push. I was looking at the volume. There wasn't a lot of volume on the DOM. I just knew that it was close to the breakout and I was being a little bit impatient. So I took the trade off and I got myself like 4.5 points for $270 on 3 contracts. And I'm glad that I did that. Even in hindsight, watching it rip for the rest of the day or just pretty much slow grind for the rest of the day, that was an impatient trade and that's why I got in and out of it so quickly. What I've done for the rest of the day is just show you other examples of where I would have been looking for other trades. Right away, that candle itself caused an untested wick, but I would have had an open order here and it wouldn't have hit. I would have missed by 2 ticks. So this would have been a no trade. The next untested wick would have been here. This one would have been pretty darn close. Once again, it probably would have missed by a tick or so. Let's zoom in and see. Yeah, we would have missed by a tick there. So that would have been a no trade as well. The next untested wick would have been here. Did not come down and hit that. So this would have been a long day of watching just a slow grind up. This one would have been close. This one wouldn't have been close. Those were all the untested wicks. So really, where I used to force trades, now I'm looking at a situation where I would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities if I sat in front of the computer for the entire day, which I'm not really looking to do either. I do have a 9 to 5 and I have a regular old job. But that's the strategy that you're going to see. I will get on here for 10 minutes every single day for the rest of the week. And I'll tell you my wins and my losses. Here's essentially what this looks like for today. I took 1 trade, 6 contracts, 3 in, 3 out. I held it for 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Once again, not a lot of movement. And that gave me 270 on the day. We can see this is an Apex demo account. Right now I'm up $400. Essentially what the whole thing looks like if I go to this month. I'm up 406. I do have a average winning trade of 127, which I'm trying to get up to. And once again, this you can see I had a little bit of a down day. And I overtraded, and that's really what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid those really, really down days and be willing to accept losses, which have really, really been hard for me to do. So if we look at that blow up date, here's what it is. I lost $880 on the day for a $771 loss. And for a guy that's trying to get $200 to $400 a day, this is what crushes traders, and it's what's crushed me before. You shouldn't be losing more than you're averaging or targeting every single day. I overtraded. I went into tilt mode. I averaged out. I should have made. This is one of those days I should have made a video and been like, here we go again, same old Brad. But maybe this will also help keep me a little bit accountable. So right now, up 406. This is a 50K account, so I have to get it up to 5,300. I'm going to pass it. Mark my words, day one, or it's day 4, but day 1 for you. I'm going to pass it. If you have any questions about the strat or anything like that, I'll leave a link down to Apex if you want to mess around with me. They're doing a pretty good discount right now, so if you want to try and pass with me, hop in the Discord, $5 a month. We'll show you all these trades in real time, and we can discuss them intraday, things like that. But yeah, let's pass this shit. All right? I'll check you guys tomorrow.